Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's Create Opportunity announcement event. This virtual event allows participants to learn more about working with the railroads and our upcoming projects. You also get some context about the overall Create program and the progress we've made over the past 20 years. My name is Michael Weinberger. I'm the lead for outreach and advocacy for the Create program. Just wanted to note a couple things. You may have seen as you've entered the webinar that we started recording immediately once the program started. This will continue until 1 p.m. And this recording will then be uploaded to the Create website for future use. I also want to note, due to the very large number of responses, we will be reviewing all the questions in the comments, but we will not be taking live answers. Instead, we're going to do something akin to what you may be familiar with, a pre-bid meeting, where we're going to consolidate all the questions and distribute to all the participants an FAQ to respond to what's out there. And so you're going to be hearing from our Create partners as well as our technical experts today. We're going to start with IDOT. I'm going to bring in Jason Osborne, and we're all going to learn a little more about the Create program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael. And thanks everybody for joining us today. All current railroaders and future railroaders are welcome. We have some incredible opportunities to discuss today on some of the most important work occurring in the nation. The CREATE program, the Chicago Regional Efficiency and Environmental Group has been a program going on for 20 years now. And we have representatives from IDOT, from the state of Illinois, and we have representatives from the railroad to talk today, as well as the city of Chicago and Cook County. And we hope that you leave today with a greater appreciation of, one, the importance of the work being done here, the opportunities that are here for you to take advantage of, and hopefully we could answer some of your questions about how to get into railroading or do more work with the railroads. In particular, we're going to highlight 3 upcoming opportunities. There are 3 projects that we're about to let. The West Side Gateway project, we call it WA1. There's a Dalton interlocking project, WA11, and the Pullman Junction, Segment A, this huge project, EW3A. We have so many projects in Create that we have to come up with shorthand for them. So excited to tell you about these opportunities. But I want to take a step back and let you know a little bit more about railroading here. I'm sure being in this area, you're familiar with the sounds and the bangs and the whistles of all the railroads activity consistently, but you might not be aware of how important it is to not just the nation's economy, but the global economy in terms of supply chain. And I like to tell people, there's a few places on the planet that you might be aware of: the Suez Canal, the Panama Canal, the South China Sea. Well, Chicago is one of these junctures. Chicago is one of these junctures where global trade happens. In the railroad world, it's called the handoff between all the large railroads, whether they're coming north, south, east, west. This is where they hand all their freight off between each other. The CREATE program so far, we've spent about $850 million. We got about $300 million of work in the pipes ready to let. And so for $1 billion or so, we've been able to reduce the average travel time of a freight train. And get this, it used to take 48 hours for a freight train to get across the Chicago region. And now we got that down to 34, sometimes 32 hours on average, which is just incredible considering what that means to the nation's economy and to just the flow of movement here in Chicago. So this process started years ago. There's been 70 projects selected, and we've been making good progress on all of those. And none of them are small. They're no small CREATE projects. And so in order to do that, we had to do it the only way we could in Illinois. Everybody involved and everybody agreeing how we move forward. And what you see here in this constellation of logos are all the partners that meet day in and day out to address project issues and for the entire program. So it's a great program that has already produced great results, and we're just getting started. We have an estimated $4 billion plus worth of work remaining to complete the program. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Felicia Good. She's going to give you a status update. So thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you very much, Jason. So CREATE, as Jason mentioned earlier, CREATE is an acronym for the Chicago Regional Environmental and Transportation Efficiency Program, established in 2003. When it was established, we had 70 projects to start with. We have completed nearly half of those projects. We are in phase 3 construction for 5 of those projects. We will be talking about 3 of them today. We are in phase 2 for 8 projects, phase 1 environmental for 7 projects, and we have 16 projects remaining. So how do we name our projects? We're broken down into 4 corridors. As you can see on the left side of the page here: passenger corridors, east-west corridor, beltway corridor, and the Western Avenue corridor. The first letter of the project, like P3, indicates the corridor. We have some projects that we label with a T, and those are our rail operation towers. We have grade separation projects that we label with GS. As you can see on the map, we have symbols here where the red stars represent the completed projects, the green circles represent our construction projects, the purple squares represent our design projects that are in design phase 2, and the blue diamonds represent our IDOT phase 1 projects. So what is unique about CREATE? How about I read it? The CREATE program is the first of its kind public-private partnership. Our common goal has been to eliminate freight, rail, and motor vehicle bottlenecks, to boost the economy, and to improve safety and the environmental concerns in our communities and in the region as a whole. How do we do that? We do that by 1, completing our programs on time and on budget, and 2, by continued community investment. Thirdly, establishing workforce development while incentivizing DBE firms. The Highway Construction Careers Training Program, the acronym that we use is HCCTP. We use a lot of acronyms in CREATE, beware. That is an IDOT program, and it's administered through the Dawson Technical Institute of Kennedy King College and South Suburban College. Graduates of the program may apply for railroad jobs upon completion. We encourage minority groups, disadvantaged persons, and women in all phases of highway and rail construction to get involved and to participate. The beautiful thing too is that our participating contractors are we provide funds for the trainees that go through, that have completed the program and are hired by our contractors. So we have a training program, and we fund the training portion for those who are engaged, who get involved. So Program partners host project information, resource events, and business-to-business network events to provide procurement updates. Today's event is exciting. It is the Opportunities Update event. Occasionally we will either have an opportunities event or a get on board event. This year we opted for the opportunities event because our numbers were so large, so many participants interested in the CREATE program. So welcome again, and we appreciate that your interest in our program. We also will be having a union outreach event in October of 2024. That's next month. And again, get on board. Last year, we hosted a get on board event with, we brought in DBE firms, contractors, and folks who were just in general interested in participating with the CREATE program. That's usually like a half-day event in person, and it usually happens when we have new procurements. Again, this year we opted for this program in lieu of it due to the large number of people who were interested in our program. So that should conclude what I have to say, and now I will pass the mic to Cassandra. It's all yours. Cassandra.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, excellent.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Cassandra Mullins, the DBE EO Labor Compliance Manager at IDOT. If you've done any work with IDOT, you may have run into compliance managers on any job site. We have compliance managers in highways from districts 1 through 9. We have a compliance manager in Division of Aeronautics, and you have me, the compliance manager in Division of Transit. As a compliance manager, some of our key functions are that we conduct compliance reviews and audits on IDOT contracts. We coordinate with contractors and subcontractors to maintain accurate DBE and EEO documentation. We also provide guidance and support to stakeholders to meet compliance requirements. Engagement and support. We offer technical assistance to DBEs for successful project participation, collaborate with Resource Center and compliance officers across Illinois to foster inclusive contracting practices. We hope to do some future outreach aimed towards DBEs to do and work with rail, to give them the information and the tools necessary to help them to participate more in the rail projects as far as bidding and competing for some of these contracts. So I will conclude this and hand this off to the next person, Mr. John Pop. Lee Fletcher.
Hello, this is Leah Fletcher with Norfolk Southern. Thank you for joining us today. I'm here to talk for a few minutes about the qualifications and requirements to work with us on our projects that we have coming up. I am the group manager of purchasing, and I oversee the design and construction as well as the asset disposition contracts. Norfolk Southern is a Class 1 railroad, and we operate in 22 states and over 19,000 miles. We serve every major port in the eastern U.S., and we go from east to west to Midwest. We have over 20,000 employees, and DEI and supplier inclusion is one of our company values. We have unwavering leadership from the top down. We actually have a formalized program that was started in 2021, and we have 2 dedicated full-time employees for outreach. We've made significant strides by increasing our small and diverse spend by 31%, and Chicago has been essential to our success in that area. Next slide. In order to be qualified to do work with Norfolk Southern, you will need to visit our website or scan the QR code at the bottom of the page and go to the suppliers page and click Become a Supplier. If you have general questions regarding our supplier inclusion program, you can email the address there at supplier.inclusion@nscorp.com, And if you have specific construction project questions, you can email me at sourcingconstructionbuyer@nscorp.com. Some of our requirements are that you have to be registered with eRailSafe. They conduct our safety and background checks. You must be registered with ISN Networld, who completes our safety regulation compliance and collects safety metrics. You must have insurance that can cover work within 50 feet of the railroad. You may or may not be required to submit a payment and performance bond as well. Insurance requirements vary based on the nature of project, but at a minimum, you would need a general liability policy, automobile, and workers' comp. Bid documents that are distributed via RFP must be completed in full. That means all 3 documents that are requested must be received by the date and time noted. Those 3 forms are a proposal form, a itemized bid sheet, and a certificate of insurance. Our public project guidelines can be found on our website under real estate, and then you would click public project guidelines. In addition to those qualifications, just get to know us and know our needs. Come to the pre-bids as you get them. Don't be afraid to join strategic alliances, and you can reach out to me for any questions regarding projects. I always like to see a list of projects and references as you apply to become a supplier for us. The opportunities are there. But you have to come prepared to meet the qualifications and the requirements and be able to do business with us because you're the best, not solely because you're a small and diverse business. So that means being able to tell us, what are you bringing to the table that's different from your competitors? How do you add value to Norfolk Southern through your work? And when you do get those opportunities, perform well, make your relationships with NS personnel or other contractors. Networking and relationships are very important in this business. You'll need to get certified and keep that certificate active. And finally, ease of business is really important for us. And what that means is, like I said, you're getting your paperwork in on time. You are following our requirements. You're meeting our contract template requirements, and we are just communicating on the regular. So that's what it takes to work with Norfolk Southern. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via the email that was listed previously. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Thomas Munns with CSX Transportation. My title is Senior Manager of Procurement, responsible for freight car sourcing, and I'll talk to you about doing business with CSX as a diverse supplier today. So similar to the NS, CSX is also committed to engaging with diverse suppliers. We do have substantial barriers to entry for our larger asset classes and services across our network, but we do encourage our local procurement individuals to assist with engaging in our diverse supplier base. We do have substantial, like I said, barriers to entry based on our requirements for eRailSafe, ISNetworld, and our insurance requirements. So we also encourage diverse suppliers to engage with our local contractors who may be able to meet those requirements, and then we can utilize your services through our Tier 2 spend. Yeah, so the easiest way to do business with CSX, if you are not already, is to go to our CSX Gateway page and fill out the Doing Business with CSX form. This will route your inquiry to a CSX procurement representative, and then we will match your inquiry with outstanding bids or RFPs that we may have for create program projects or for projects across our network as well. So that's, in a nutshell, doing business with CSX.
Excellent. So now you've heard a lot about working with the railroads and how this relates to the overall CREATE program. Now we're really going to get into the meat and potatoes of this event, which is the upcoming projects. We have 3 really exciting procurement opportunities, which you'll hear from the project managers and leads. There will, of course, be more information as we get closer. We encourage everyone to sign up on the Create website to join the listserv so you can get procurement updates when they hit the street. But yeah, we're very excited to have you hear about it, and follow-up questions, feel free to put it in the chat. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I will introduce you to the Create WA1 project. I am the project manager at Benish and the lead engineer for the project from the phase 2 perspective. So first of all, the WA1 project, it includes a significant rail work, which will create significant and great improvements for the corridor, mostly for much more efficient freight operations for UP, NS, and CSX as well. The project also includes a variety of improvements that are at the street level, including improved vertical clearances at bridges, roadway and sidewalk restorations, and also upgraded lighting at all bridges on the project. There is also, so just covering the major construction elements for this project, there will be a total of 14 bridge replacements at 14 locations. There would be bridge removals at 2 locations. There will be bridge repairs at 2 additional locations, and then also retaining wall replacements at 2 other locations. So quite a few structures. But as I mentioned previously, there would be street work, restoration, sidewalk restoration, lighting work. So quite a range of work that's going to be available as part of this project. There's already partially funded by a grant, about $70 million has come in for Union Pacific on this one. And the key target date here for you to pay attention to is the bid advertisement, which we really hope to get out in Q4 2024. So look for that November timeframe. One last thing, you may have noticed we didn't have a Union Pacific covering supplier requirements. For any questions related to Union Pacific suppliers requirements, please reach out to the email address on this slide. You can also apply directly to be a supplier through the UP website, up.com. And also, if you do that, please email the address there to notify that your application has been sent. Thank you, and I'll now hand it over to Brett to discuss the Create WA1 11 project.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Matt stated, my name is Brett Garino. I am the project manager for CSX, representing our work in the Create program. And today I'll talk to you a little bit about the WA11 project. It is also known as the Dalton Interlocking Improvement Project, and is situated in the villages of Riverdale and Dalton, Chicago, in the south suburbs. The project scope primarily is to upgrade and reconfigure the Dalton interlocking, which is where Union Pacific, IHB, and CSX all cross and interchange. We will reconfigure that interlocking as well as construct a 3rd main line, which will help us accomplish speed increases throughout that corridor. The contractor scope for the project will be heavy earthwork, ground improvements where we will be relocating our diamonds, drainage improvements and erosion control, as well as roadway construction at 5 highway grade crossings. 3 of those are on CSX's corridor and 2 are on Union Pacific's corridor. The project will also feature those community partnerships, including DBE participation and the HCCTP, Highway Construction Careers Training Program hours on the contractor side. This project was funded by, or is being funded by, a $19 million grant award through the FRA CRISI program, and we are expecting to advertise for bids in November of this year. And next, I will hand it over to Jake at Norfolk Southern.
Yes, thank you, everyone. I'm Jake Watson with Norfolk Southern's engineering department. And the project we're talking about today, acronym EW3A at our Pullman Junction. It's largely upgrading track and signals through this interlocking and control point, but we do have work that we intend to contract out, and the scope of that would consist of concrete and handrail repairs to two structures, Woodlawn and Stony Island Avenue. And then we also will be installing a sound wall along the property line. And we hope to have this advertised publicly. Won't have to wait long, but in any event, the fourth quarter of this year. So be on the lookout for that.
Next up, we have Jeff Schreiber.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Jeff Schreiber with the City of Chicago's Department of Transportation, and here to talk about the final three projects that will be coming up in the next year or so, or a little bit further ahead, looking a little bit further ahead than the projects we were just talking about. First on this list is actually a project that will be done by Metra, the Chicago Commuter Railroad, and this will raise the bridge above the 80th Street Junction. And so if people are familiar with the area around 79th Street, the viaducts that are between between Halsted and Vincennes, there's like a double-deck viaduct. So the topmost bridge on that double-deck viaduct there is going to be raised a little bit higher above the freight trains that run below it. And that bridge serves Metra commuter trains. They expect that to go out to final design is expected later this year, with construction bids to follow late this year or early next year. So be on the lookout for that through Metra. And then another project that's coming up through the city of Chicago is a grade separation, where we will be taking our Archer Avenue underneath the Belt Railroad of Chicago. So this is going to be replacing the grade crossing that's currently right on Archer Avenue, just east of Cicero Avenue, with a structure so the cars and trucks and bikes and people walking can go underneath the railroad rather than having to cross over the top of it. And we expect that project, which is just finishing up design now, to get out to bid for construction later next year. So about in a little over a year's time from now. So keep on the lookout for that through CDOT. And finally, a project through the Illinois Department of Transportation, a little bit further in the future, but it's under design right now. This will separate 65th Street and Harlem Avenue, a very busy intersection on the southwest side of the city, from the Belt Railroad of Chicago, which runs right parallel to Harlem Avenue at that location. In this case, the roads will be taken up and over the tracks, and new bridge structures will be built there, partly in the city of Chicago and partly in a few suburban communities that are adjacent there too. That project is looking towards bidding for construction in early 2026. So another year and a half or so from now. Next slide. So with that wraps up our the overview, the three main projects that we talked about, the West Side Gateway and the Dalton Interlocking and Pullman Junction, and summary of business and contracting opportunities, as well as a look ahead to some projects that will be coming along in addition to those three main ones. And with that, I'll turn it over to back to Michael. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Jeff. So as noted, we're going to keep this open until 1 to take any questions that are put in. We're going to provide a formal response. I did want to note, though, just to reiterate, we have recorded this session. We will be posting that to the Create website. We'll also be posting the presentation to the website. So these materials will be accessible to everyone. If you have colleagues that would like to see this information, it's something that's shareable. So we definitely encourage you to do so. We also encourage you to check out our social media pages, especially our LinkedIn presence. There's a lot of information about upcoming procurements, industry events. So it's a good way to stay apprised of what's happening. Overall, in terms of next steps, we're going to continue to provide the types of workforce development and networking and training opportunities that we've noted. We encourage all of you to sign up for our procurement listserv, sign up for our newsletter. This will keep you informed if any dates moved or shift. And then, of course, we're a resource as well. Feel free to reach out to our program leads. We'll be sending a thank you email with more details. But we just appreciate everyone's time. And if you don't have questions, you get a little more time back during your lunch period. So really appreciate it. Thank you.